Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Prince of Queens live stream channel. And I think I left my audio on in my other window and I got to turn it off. I think I got it just in time. So I'm glad that a few of you are actually here. That's awesome. So I am being joined tonight by my friend. How do you say your name again? Is it Yosef?
Got it right.
Yosef?
Yosef.
Yosef. Okay. So, and he, in terms of YouTube, is actually a good old friend of mine. Problem is, I don't really stream that often anymore. You know, the only streams I really do are the gay triarchy streams because I never have streaming on my main channel, and I don't know, it just kind of got used to like not streaming on this channel. But gonna see if I can clear up the technicalities of why I can't stream on the main channel, and if I can't, and I just turns out that I don't ever get to stream on there, maybe I will start doing more live streams again with people like Yosef, because I believe that we always had interesting conversations and were able to share notes of socio-political discourse from literally the exact opposite end of the nation. I live in Seattle and you live in Atlanta,
Yep.
and very different types of people. I mean, not really actually, but you would expect normies, nor most people would expect. I'm a white gay guy who came from the far left. My mother was a feminist. My father was a registered well, I don't know about a registered, but he was literally a communist in the 1950s until he realized that they're a bunch of fucks. And you know the funny thing, I don't think I ever told you this, Yosef. Um, you know how like conservatives will try to like tokenize you a little bit because they don't got that many black guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens. It happens, right? Well, the thing is about commies, I've learned, I think, is that they tokenize productive people. Like if they could convince a productive, intelligent, capable person to become a commie, they will suck up to that person and they will make sure that everyone meets that person. And I think that that's what my dad was, because he was a science student and he was very smart and capable. And I think that the commies that he knew were really, really nice to him and kind of like didn't really tell them about their true nature because they didn't really want him to know, because they wanted to be able to say, yeah, we have this science student, you know, like act like kind of show him off, parade him around
Yeah.
for everybody. And then finally he figured out that communism doesn't work in the 50s, because that's when he was into it. And he told them, he was like, no, that everybody in the Soviet Union and China is dying. This shit's fucked up. I don't want to be involved anymore. And they beat him up for like
Wow.
a bunch of, yeah, like a group of them, like a bunch of fucking beta pieces of shit that they are. Um, so that's my background. You know, I come from the far left, and well, you come from a urban mecca, I believe, Chicago. But then you found yourself more libertarian. Now a Proud Boy. Why don't you tell us about that? I'm going to start eating my dessert that I have.
Yeah. So I come from Chicago. I wouldn't consider myself a Democrat, but I'll consider myself a capitalist because my father and my family, we were very big at making money, and we really, really did not like taxes. And that's generally have been our views. Came to Georgia, started two businesses. One was with food, other one with barkeep. And I was getting, and one thing I noticed with under Obama, I kept getting kicked in the teeth time and time again with regulation, and so it was that, and also with the far left, the rise of the far left, and a lot of things they were doing, it kind of pushed me farther and farther right, and then eventually, no, in 2016, it was the choice between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, and like I really don't like Hillary, so I'm gonna go for Trump. And after that, the guy won, and I voted for Trump for one reason because I was like, all this I can't keep doing all these regulations. It's like it's killing me. Um, and so because as being from the urban, being from Chicago, I've been told multiple times like the Republicans are racist. The Republicans will, will yank you by the back of your kneecaps and drag you by the truck. So one day, I was like, let me just hang out with some conservatives. I've been watching Gavin McInnes for a while, I've been watching Ben Shapiro. I've been watching Steven Crowder. Let me see if the right is really as bigoted as the left have claimed. Went to a meetup one day, and my whole views on the right was shattered because
They're probably said, no, that's just the Hicks, and the Hicks don't vote.
yeah, they don't. No. Oh, well, they can't legally vote. So so it's like I started hanging out with the Proud Boys, and we just get attacked time and time again. Where we're like, these are white nationalists. These are this hate group. They hate gays. Either like Milo and Chadwick's like the darling of the Proud Boys. Like we hate women, and we just sad, occlusive of men. All these we hate Muslims. Like we don't really hate Muslims.
Mainly from an outsider perspective. Like I actually went to an actual party in my city a few weeks ago, and was talking to people who are, I don't know, this guy's probably considers himself a libertarian. Doesn't really have his, I mean, he works, full-time job at like a respectable company that you would have heard of, and makes probably a considerable amount of money. But he's probably more conservative than not. Certainly, he's conservative by Seattle standards, and even he thought that the Proud Boys were very closely related to the alt right. And I had to like kind of educate him for about 15 minutes, trying to explain the difference and like explain the clear, like what the alt right actually is, and like what the Proud Boys actually are. And a lot of people don't know that. Like the alt right is distinctly white identitarian focused. They care more about white people than anything else. Period. Like white people. Proud Boys are something different. So keep going.
And I think this is one YouTuber that I always watch. Whereas one thing that is the core of the all right is they want an ethno state. If the Proud Boys don't want an ethno state, they don't. They believe the West is the best. They love Western values. They're as we call it, we're Western chauvinists. We for closed borders. We for a strong family. We for guns. We for maximum freedom. We're anti-racism. We're also anti-race guilt. And these are the tenets of the Proud Boys. I mean, we should like these are we don't hide these tenets. Like this is like you can easily look this up.
Yeah.
Like Tariq Nasheed tweeted out the 10 tenets of the Proud Boys, and like look right there, the anti-racism. Like, do you know what anti means?
Well, because I know. If you ever say that you're not a racist, or if you ever dare you say, if you're white and you dare to say that you have black friends, that is a sign that you're actually a racist, according to fucking someone like Tariq Nasheed, I'm sure.
You're even more racist, for if anything. So like I said, it's a weird thing. Like I was pretty cool. Tariq Nasheed having not Tariq Nasheed. Talib Green haven't messed with me in months, and all of a sudden, because of this whole shit show for the past.
Who did you say? Who did you just say?
Talib Green.
Like I don't even know who that is.
He's an artist. Like he's once he learned that I was a Proud Boys, I made a video on him. Like he for like 2 months, he was just like harassing me. Like this guy got 1 million followers, and he's harassing me. Yeah, it's the weirdest.
Wait, let me. I want to screen share some of his art because I don't know who this guy is. What's his name?
Talib Green.
Talik. So like Talik.
B.
Oh, Talib. How do you spell the last name?
Green.
Just Green. Okay. Oh, he's like the rapper.
Yep.
Oh, this guy.
Yeah, this guy is harassing me on Twitter.
Okay.
And you see how many followers he got?
Yeah, let's look at his fucking Twitter. How about this?
It's pretty fucking bad. All he does all day, and he even admits that all he does all day is tweet at racists online. Like, like you have no life if you're harassing me.
Yeah. So let's see. I don't think that this. Okay, so present to everyone, and I don't want to say this is annoying. Okay, no, that's not what I want. Okay, hold on. There we go. This is what I want. There.
Yes.
So this fucking guy, was harassing you, trying to just because you made a video about him.
No, because I'm a Proud Boy. Like
Oh,
this
because
guy,
you're a Proud Boy, and he thinks that you're a racist. He's trying to call you. What's he trying to call you a coon and Uncle Tom and shit?
he said that I stole a picture of a black person online and using it so I can say racist stuff. I like, and then I made a video about it. Like, dude, I'm literally black. So I don't believe you. Like,
Dude, yeah, you fucking. Where do you get a fucking animatronic?
I don't know. Like, he's coming to Atlanta soon, and so I'm planning to come to his little show with a MAGA hat on. So that's my little gift to him. So this guy, this idiot, is harassing me on Twitter, and it's mostly because, like I said, this is one thing about this whole incident is for some reason the media keep calling the Proud Boys alt-right. So what happens next is the alt-right, like, oh, well, they must be alt-right because everybody keeps saying they're alt-right. So we get alt-right guys come in a group, and then they realize that we're not alt-right, and then like, we fuck you guys are degenerates, and they leave, and that tend to happen because if you ever go around the Proud Boys, it's like there is cores, no, I guess there's pillars in the Proud Boys that doesn't change. Like the Proud Boys and their obsession with traps. Like if you go to Proud Boys and say a trap's gays, I have been in hour-long debates debating are traps are gay or not. Like hours. No drinking, no hanging out, no partying, no fighting, no doing random stuff, no improving yourself. These are things about the Proud Boys. With alt-right is like they're basically like feminists with no crew cuts. We're like, oh my god, like no, look at all these degenerates. Oh my god, like, well, you just complain on
Yeah, they hate gay men just like feminists do.
Yeah, they really do. But if you look at the Proud Boys, like Chadwick is like the all-time darling of the Proud Boys. Like when Milo joined the Proud Boys, and we was like, because we had Westfest coming in 2 months, it was like, who's the best gay? Like the best. No, it's kind of tongue in cheek. Like, what's the best gay? And like everybody likes Chadwick. Fuck Milo. Like,
Wait, why they say that?
because Chadwick's been a Proud Boys for a while. Like he's been in the group for a while. Like no fuck.
Well, and he has that like Midwestern charm about him.
Yeah, he does. Like I don't know. That's
He said, yeah, he does.
he's got that way, that Southern twang. And Milo was surprised. We were like fuck you. No, we know Chadwick. Chadwick's so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it takes an Angela Lansbury Murder She Wrote to start suspecting that maybe Milo isn't 100% authentic about his affiliations. So, no, which is not to say that I don't appreciate Milo, because I do, but I can see why people would be a little bit more enthusiastic about a longer member.
Well, it's like with Chadwick, I've been drunk with Chadwick, like really, really drunk with Chadwick. And then Milo, we thought he was gonna come in. He thought like, well, Gavin's famous, so he's gonna treat me like Gavin. Like you don't want us to, you don't want us to treat you like Gavin. There's so many horrible memes in the Proud Boy page about Gavin. It's like, so like when lefties like send like give me normie memes about Gavin McInnes, like I've seen worse. I have seen Gavin McInnes. Guardian of the Galaxy disappeared. Thanos goes like, we don't care. So because of the media keep claiming that we alt-right, which we're not. Like,
yeah,
like we have disavowed.
And there's we've talked about this, and I think that everyone is kind of heard. Like, I think most people who are going to be watching at this point basically know what the Proud Boys absolutely are. I do want to say something. I want to be clinical about this whole like, Western chauvinism thing. So my least favorite YouTuber these days, my least favorite YouTuber in the current moment is ContraPoints. I cannot stand ContraPoints. They just bug the crap out of me, and especially because ContraPoints is just smart enough to fool a lot of people that I thought would not be fooled by them. But ContraPoints is not really very smart, and ContraPoints knows that ContraPoints is saying things that aren't particularly true. But for whatever reason, ContraPoints is saying them anyway. And that bugs me. It's like, wait, somebody must have like signed you a check and so that you'll say a bunch of crap that isn't very well thought out and is kind of dishonest. And ContraPoints has been saying that made a video about the West, and it was trying to talk about how when people talk about the West, they mean some combination of Enlightenment values as well as Judeo-Christian influences, which Enlightenment values, one of the innovations of Enlightenment values was secularism.
Yes.
So if you were to take that into account, then the West is inherently self-contradictory because Judeo-Christian traditions mixed with secularism is self-contradictory. Now, I can sort of see that point, but I think that there's a difference between traditions and governments. You know, it's like we have secular governments and we have Judeo-Christian traditions. That's not all that hard to reconcile. And what I would like to say is Western liberal democracies is what the Proud Boys are all about defending. Is that right?
That is true. It's because the thing about America was erupted out of the age of enlightenment from England. It's kind of broke away from that and say, hey, no, you have the freedom to be whoever you feel like to be. If you want to obey this God, you're allowed to do that. If you want to pray to this church, you're allowed to do that. At the end of the day, the Constitution is an extremely well made document where it's a freedom for all. And let's try to get as close to freedom for all as possible. And nowhere else in the world right now, especially because what America will say is Western Enlightenment ideas. There's nowhere in the world now where they have a maximum freedom. Right now with Tommy Robinson, like people, they didn't realize it got that bad. A lot of people don't realize 9 people a day get arrested for hate speech online in England.
Yeah. It's and that's a really, really, really long story. So yeah, I am perfectly I guess sympathetic to is the word to what the Proud Boys are about. You know, I'm not about to join up for my own, just in the same way that like I don't join anything. That's just how I am. But like I think that the West is worth preserving. I think that you guys are you mean well. I think that the people you stand up to need to have someone, you know, standing up to them. Like they need to get thrown on. You know what I mean? Like
well, the reason why the problem was started because Trump supporters were getting attacked.
Yeah.
And the media didn't show this. So like I don't give a shit when people like, oh no, people are harassing Maxine Water. Like people was literally beating up Trump supporters. And then a lot of people on the left got mad when the Proud Boys start punching back. And don't get me wrong, the Proud Boys, we tend to be these big burly men, you know, who are working class, who work on cars, who are welders, who are plumbers, you know, jobs that takes a little muscle to work that. So we tend to be bigger than the average person. I work on cars and I work with I drive a forklift. I'm 6'2", almost 200 pounds of muscle. Like you don't want somebody like me hitting you. Like this, I'm pretty sure everyone saw the clip of Rufio knocking Antifa literally retarded. Like he hit him so hard, he had brain damage now.
Oh, the dude who fell on the ground.
Yes, that was the Proud Boys because he was hitting him with a pipe.
Oh yeah, he was trying to fucking hit him with a collapsible baton. You hit someone in the head with that, they'll probably die.
Yes.
So fuck him. Fuck that guy. I don't give a fuck if he's fucking brain dead. Like that was an attempted murder. I mean, he didn't know how to swing that fucking thing. He didn't know how to throw it. Like he didn't know how to fight. He would have been best to benefit from a few weapons classes. And that's why he's now fucking drooling in a wheelchair. And I don't fucking care.
No, this was a common thing. Like this was an extremely common thing on the right, and people was getting, like I said, people got mad that we started punching back, and no people got even madder when we started winning because people who are on the right tend, especially like the right working class, tend to work tough jobs, tough blue collar jobs. You know, like
Yeah.
oiling or welding. You know, who's got some muscle, and then Antifa tend to be like, you know, Starbucks, no associates or
Well, no,
baristas.
fucking have a bunch of student loans that they're living off, go into some fucking university or some shit, and they don't even fucking work. And yeah, that's what's particularly infuriating. And then it got to the point that everyone was like, oh well, Antifa's just attacking white people, so it doesn't matter. So I don't even know what they would say.
That's not
But first of all, well, Antifa is almost exclusively white, so let's just that's dumb. Second of all, it's not true. There's multiple pieces of footage of Antifa attacking racial minorities. Multiple. I can think of off the top of my head 2 instances of Antifa getting in fights with black guys. Like that one fucking ugly ass trans tried to fight the black guy and
yeah, and
fucking
immediately got knocked out. Like you're like, oh my god, how can you hear? And this is what they hate what Tifa, because don't get me wrong, I have knocked a couple of heads. Is they love pitting females at the front, and then when you punch a female, it's like, oh my god, you just punched a woman. Like, well, I can't tell if she's wearing all black, and you guys swinging bats at me and perpetrating with my eyes. No, if I hit a woman by accident, I'm sorry, you came to harass me. Like it wasn't like this. If a Tifa showed up at a rally, there will be violence. If a Tifa is by themselves at a rally, it's a Tifa rally, there will be violence. If the Proud Boys show up to a rally by themselves, there will be no violence. Like nothing will happen. If a Proud Boys went rally and nobody showed up, nothing would happen. But if it's a bunch of Tifa, shit would get destroyed.
yeah.
That's the biggest thing. The Proud Boys is a defensive branch of the right wing. Tifa is an offensive branch of the right wing. No,
Yeah.
Proud Boys come up with shields. Tifa come with batons.
Yeah. And the thing about and Antifa and the females that you were just talking about, and that can segue into what we're going to be talking about this evening is, um, uh, they know that they're doing that. Like I've spent so much time around that type of person, and there is a particular type of girl that knows about her female privilege and knows the ways that she can exploit it. Like she knows perfectly well that she can instigate fights, and then if anyone hits her, that person's in big trouble. She doesn't think about it a whole lot beyond that. Like she just knows that if she gets hit, that's exactly what she wants. That's all she fucking knows, and she exploits that. And I've been around a lot of girls like that. I have to say I have. I've seen them threaten guys. I've seen them threaten guys on my behalf when I was younger, like when I was gay and kind of like scared and shit, didn't know how to stand up for myself and get a little bit like picked on in high school, and like girls would start getting up in the guy's face, like knowing that he can't do shit. You know what I mean? Like that's an attitude that comes from like the far left that it's just sort of ingrained into girls. But one thing that fucking Proud Boys have no, from what we've already talked about, have no motive at all whatsoever to do would be a tragic, fucked up, senseless murder, slitting the throat of some girl on a Monday night for seemingly no reason.
Yes. So I gotta tell you the whole story of how we have been blamed for this. So about a week before this happened, a bunch of Proud Boys was in LA, in California. I'm getting some drinks. Now, this is very important. I'm going to say this is important to the story. Now, this far left, activist was like a F-list actor, tweeted out that, hey, we should go down to this bar and fuck with these white nationalists, fuck with the white boys, with the Proud Boys. Now, with him calling us white nationalists, out of the 25 guys that was there, only 4 of the guys was actually plain old white Christian straight males. The rest was minorities. The rest was either brown, it was either Hispanic, it was either black, it was either gay, or they was Jewish. There was like this extremely diverse group of guys. Way more diverse, way more diverse than Tifa that was attacking us. Nothing but white people attacking us. So you get this rich white kid tweeting out, "Hey, let's go attack these people." So they go to this bar, and they start attacking. Like, "Oh my God, you got to get rid of these racist Nazis, these white nationalists." And this is one clip on the internet of I did a video on it of this guy turning around, looking at our group, the group, a bunch of brown guys, a bunch of you got the gay guys, you got Jewish guys, you got guys with yarmulkes, you got Hispanics over there, you got like two, three, four white guys, and he's like, "I'm so confused, like where are the white nationalists at?" And I joked, was like, "Oh my God, why are these white nationalists so damn diverse?" Because that's what it sounds like. Like, look at this diverse group of guys.
Yeah.
So we got booted out, and we still got called white nationalists. We still got.
I actually came up with a good way of describing things like Antifa and the far left. Antifa, where white guys go to talk about how much they hate white guys to impress other white guys.
Yeah, I was telling my far left friend, he's a reporter. I was like, "Do you think it's weird that Antifa's almost all white?" I rarely it's like the. I have seen videos of a black Proud Boy in a MAGA hat punching Antifa, and it still calls white nationalists. Like, look at this white nationalist attack Antifa. Like, that's clearly a black guy punching Antifa.
Yeah. Yeah, and then like who looks a little bit more like the KKK? I mean, swap the colors. We got the Proud Boys wearing all sorts of different colors, and then we got the people with their faces hidden wearing all black. Like,
so yeah, that's the crazy part. So we got booted. We was in the news like, you guys are racist, you guys are hateful, you guys are Nazis. The white guy that called for action to attack the Proud Boys, which we wasn't doing nothing. Remember, we went to a bar, we sat in a corner doing nothing.
And you were there?
No, I wasn't there. This is the Proud Boys.
So you're saying the group.
The group. Like I said, I one thing I do is I watch everything. I live on the internet. So they was in the group, in the bar, sitting in the corner, drinking beer quietly, doing nothing. And these guys came up and started harassing them. And this rich white guy, this privileged white guy called Levi Ramos. If you can guess by his name, he's Hispanic, a dumb Mexican and a fucking coconut for supporting Trump.
And a coconut.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like a fucking racial insult and everything.
So like, wow. No, where's the? And I was telling her, like, where's the outrage? I had a bunch of reporters like, do you think the Proud Boys doing this? Do you think they're trying to spark feelings? Like, I say, and so
they always do that victim blaming ass bullshit. Like, it's amazing how much they used to like talk about victim blaming in regards to feminists, and then they really do victim blame the Proud Boys and the Patriot Prayer any fucking time any shit happens to you guys. They try to say that you're asking for it.
Yep. So I started. Well, one thing I like to do is this new thing I call a series of questions, where I just ask a series of questions. I gotta walk the person down to what I'm trying to make. So like, if I was a female and I was wearing something that was very busty and very flattering, should I be harassed? Like, well, no. So you agreed that if somebody is wearing something that they shouldn't be harassed. Like, well, yes. So you should agree with that same statement if you're consistent, or either you're consistent or you're a hypocrite, that if someone wearing a red MAGA hat, they should be left alone. Well, I mean, like, yes, either you're a hypocrite or you can be consistent. So, like I said, this thing I do is a series of questions where I ask a series of questions to prove a point. So they get booted out, and we was fresh in everybody's mind, like these racist white nationalists. The brown, and like Levi Ramos went on TV on Fox News with a MAGA hat. Like, he's clearly a brown guy, and he still calls white nationalists. So he's fresh in everybody's mind because everybody can like, well, he's a white nationalist, and and he pan over to the brown guy. So with the murder of Miss Nia, which rest in peace, Miss Nia, she was murdered. and somebody said, and I watched this video come up. It was early in the morning. One thing I do, two things I do is that I Google my name so I can see if there's any new hit pieces, and I Google the Proud Boys names and see if there's any new hit pieces. And there's one video came up where it's like, well, these white nationalists I was reading about the other day. This could be this white nationalist group called the Proud Boys. You never know. It could be the Proud Boys. And we got to watch out for these kind of guys. With this one guy saying it could be the Proud Boys, then it start rolling like this was the Proud Boys. It got to be the Proud Boys. So it was the Proud Boys, and it's kind of like the game you ever played in school where
Telephone.
No, you know what I'm talking about. You're in line and one guy say, "Hey, Jimmy's shoe is blue."
Yeah. Telephone.
Hell yeah. And this is what happened. It went from it might have been the Proud Boys.
And then there's always the one kid that deliberately misrepresents what the last kid said.
So it went from like it might be the Proud Boys. It could be the Proud Boys. The Proud Boys is the white national group, so it was the Proud Boys. And like, hey, the Proud Boys. Why would it be some? It was some homeless guy on drugs in the street. It was just some random white guys, which I typically wait 78.
Wait, sorry. I didn't have the information about who the killer was and the suspected motive at this time. Like all I knew is that the guy was white. So tell us what is known about the killer.
He was on drugs. He was in and out of jail. He had a problem, past dealing with the law, and he was this crazed up dude. He was he's the one they snapped and killed this person.
Did he know her?
No.
And do they have any like was he just actually having some psychotic episode and maybe was awake for 2 or 3 days straight or some shit like that?
Pretty much.
Yeah, see, that's fucked.
So, that's pretty much what was the whole thing. Now, because of this, Sean,
and this was just some like innocent black girl like walking to work or some shit, right?
Yes, it was real. Like I said, it was real sad that this happened. It was some innocent white girl, but how quick everybody it's like it went from it might be the Proud Boys to the Proud Boys, and it went for like 2 days. And on my channel, I have Proud Boy videos on my channel. It was just coon. They're gonna drag you by your boots. Watch this. They're gonna murder you. Watch this. People they really don't care about you, and it was just crazy. Like for like 2 days straight, it was just all this backlash. Because like somebody said, it might be the Proud Boys. It was definitely the Proud Boys. Levi, that brown guy lost his job because of all this fake news. Like he legit lost his guy. Like, so. Yeah.
Can I ask what type of job he was working?
Construction, but it's California.
Huh.
So, even the Pro was blamed, Gavin was blamed, we was all blamed, and then the very next day it was a Virgil, I guess. A Virgil was happening. And
Visual, yeah,
Visual. And this is what was told on the news. That the Proud Boys was going to a meetup and they decided to harass the Visual. Sean King tweeted this out. She tweeted this out. Mainstream media tweeted this out that we was harassing this Visual. What actually happened was the Proud Boys was on a Monday. The Proud Boys never drink on a Monday, like never. We drink on the weekend. We drink on Saturday. We drink on Sunday. But
it would be. From my understanding of the Proud Boys, it's like go to school, go to work all week, make a good living for yourself, go get drunk on Friday night, fuck your wife, hopefully impregnate her, and then work all week so you can support your kids.
Yes, we simply party on one day, and that's it. So it was weird. So the Visual. This is what actually happened. The Visuals was actually looking for blood. They heard the Proud Boys. Somebody somewhere said the Proud Boys was having a meetup in this one bar, which we was not. And found this random white guy and beat him up. The Visual went from the actual place that was honoring the person, to this bar and beat up a random white guy. What was told was the Proud Boys went to the visual and harassed the visual. Either the visual was peaceful, which was the exact opposite. It was, and then this the crazy part. The white guy they beat up, had two adopted black daughters. So it was like, it was the weirdest thing ever.
So the guy who they beat up, I had heard that he had two adopted black daughters, and he wasn't even a Proud Boy.
Nope.
He was just some guy that was there to pay his respects.
He wasn't even at the visual. The visual came to.
He wasn't even at the visual.
No, the visual left the spot, went to this bar, saw a random guy with an American flag on his shirt, and beat him up.
Because he had an American flag. Yeah.
Because somebody said it was the Proud Boys, even though there was no proof. And he said, "I'm not a Proud Boys." And then the Proud Boys tweeting out like, "We don't have meetings on Mondays. That makes no sense. We all work those hard jobs. So
yeah.
So like you're not gonna find an electrician or a plumber working on the weekend. It's not gonna happen. You know why? Because you need a plumber, so we can choose to be off on the weekend.
Yeah.
So all this craziness happened of us being called white nationalists, it was an extremely diverse group of Proud Boys. From us, we think it's the Proud Boys, into we know it's the Proud Boys, from let's fucking kill the Proud Boys. And then the visual leaving the spot, going to this bar, beating up a random white person that think it's the Proud Boys. It's like all this craziness happened because the left and the Southern Party lawsuits have labeled the Proud Boys, an alt-right group, even though time and time again we say we're not alt-right.
And it would be easy enough to, if anyone wanted to actually investigate the claim, which okay, you and I live in this, I don't want to say privileged, but kind of, in a way, we have a privileged reality in that we actually search for the facts. Right, and that puts us at this privileged position, because we can see the world for what it is, because we don't trust basically 95% or more of anything we hear. We got to see it for ourselves. Let's investigate this. Let's see what both sides are saying. Let's see the footage myself, and then I'll make up my mind, because that's what you got to do if you're going to be in the YouTube sphere. You're going to be in groups like the Proud Boys, like political groups and stuff that actually care about, thinking about things in any capacity. There is, I'm sure, some level of groupthink within the Proud Boys, but at the same time, you guys also have to be on your toes, because there's people actively conspiring against you.
Yeah, this is true. If it's coming to Trump's, even with that, is some level of groupthink. But like I said, some of the debates I heard of the Proud Boys was extremely engaging, and we don't kick people out who have different ideas. We say, hey, I disagree with you, but let's have a beer and let's stop arguing. I legit I went with a war with Texas, the Proud Boys of Texas, about the Confederate flag. And this went on for about 2 months. And then eventually, let's get drunk and says, bury the hatchet. I love you, my brother. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen on the left.
No, it absolutely doesn't. You're not allowed. The second that they even realize that you know enough to know that they're full of shit, then they start attacking you. And it doesn't take much for them to realize that that they're full of shit. It can happen in about 30 seconds, and then they'll flip out. So I was saying something though about the just how easy it is to dispel the notion that Proud Boys are allegedly white nationalists. I think the problem that a lot of people probably run into, and I don't think I've really ever been like this in my life, at least not past my early 20s, because in my early 20s, I had this kind of like personal information and honesty revolution where tried to make it a point to like always know about the world and, never lie about other people and other things. Now I continue to lie about myself a little bit, but that's irrelevant. Um, I I realized that I should if I say something about somebody else or some other group or some factual happening and I'm misrepresenting it, I did something really wrong. Like I did something gravely wrong, and I would be best to try to learn about that before anybody else and correct myself. Because if I'm saying something that's untrue and spreading false truths, around the internet or something, that can take on a life of its own. And I don't ever want to do that. And I came to that conclusion in the mid 2000s because I was one of the original social media junkies. So I think that a lot of people never had that personal philosophical realization of just how far and fast a lie can travel. I actually heard a good quote. In the information age, a lie can travel the whole world in the time it takes for the truth to put on its shoes.
Yes.
And so I think that a lot of people, they hear something, they start saying it, and once they realize they've been saying it for a while, when you try to correct them, they're stubborn because they realize sort of deep down that they might have been saying something that's untrue, and they don't want to have to face the consequences of what that might entail. Because I think that somewhere in the back of their minds, people kind of know that might be kind of a really bad thing. And so they want to say, no, I mean, no, there's the Proud Boys are close enough to the alt-right. People that are very close to me that I don't want to name have thought that. And I had to, actively explain, no, they really aren't. Like, it's a very, very different thing. Like, I mean, they aren't Democrats. They aren't communists. I think that that's about all that they have in common with the alt-right, But if somebody's been saying, oh, the Proud Boys, they're kind of like the alt-right, if they've been saying it for a long time, they're going to have to really swallow their pride to start correcting themselves.
No, it's absolutely true. Because it's take one quick Google search about the alt-right. Because they use the alt-right because they don't really understand with it. And the alt-right doesn't hide what they believe in. They believe in the ethno state. They believe in the white nationalists.
Well, no, a lot of them do, though. I mean, well, it's hard to say because there's a lot of people who won't even admit to being alt-right, who kind of are.
And yeah, like what is it? The Red Elephant? Like I'll consider that an alt-right channel. Like he won't call himself alt-right. Like every time, like he's pretty much there. Like he thinks that the Proud Boys are cucks. He wants to talk about it. He talks about the JQ. He talks
Is
about
the guy that's kind of hot. The blonde guy. He's like very masculine looking. He looks like he works out.
Yeah, Vince. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know much about him besides that he's like kind of hot.
But what the Proud Boys say, what are the Proud Boys advocating for? They're advocating for family. They're advocating for taking care of your kids. They're advocating for entrepreneurship. They're advocating for freedom of speech. They're advocating for Western values and instilling Western values into the male.
And defend yourself from the commies and the Islamists.
Yes. At the end of the day, we cheer each other when we get a job. We cheer each other when we get a business. We cheer each other when we have a kid. Like the alt-right don't do that stuff. Mm-hmm. Like the alt-right have never done things like that. All they care about is like this. The Proud Boys is more hands-on. Like, hey, what can we do to better the community? Right now, most Proud Boys across the nation are buying property where we can have our own area to party in. Like in Georgia, we just bought a house and we setting up like this is the Proud Boy house. We have our funds where we can come over, we can party, we can do stuff, we can fix cars. Is our own areas. The alt-right don't do that stuff. They focus more on politics. What can we do to push politics for whites. Right? The problem is like, what can we do to fix the community? What can we do to improve the community? What can you do to protect the community? The alt right is not going to go out there and around random Trump supporters and protect them. The alt right is not going to go to random patriots and protect them. The alt right is not going to random gays or trans of the right and protect them. It's not going to happen. It was this one tranny that transgender that was out there. It was on a MAGA hat. She got attacked. The next time she went out there, she was surrounded by Proud Boys. The alt right won't do that.
Yeah. The alt right behaves in such strange, counterintuitive, self-contradictory, often what's the word? Seemingly self-defeating ways that it's really, really hard for me to believe that the brains behind the operations actually wants them to succeed. Because I've been saying for a while, and I want to make a whole video about this. Like I've been hesitating towards making a direct political argument against the alt-right for a while, because I mean, there's whoever the fuck they are that, you know, mans all like the 500 sock puppet accounts per person, you know, like that's what those guys will, that's what they will do. Whoever the fuck, and like, you know, there can't be all that many of them, but there's a good like 50 dedicated ones like that are doing it like all the fucking time. And when you do that, those guys will fucking just around the clock for the next 3 weeks, just fucking tweet at you and like find you. And like, if you comment under somebody's video, they'll start like fucking saying some shit. And, but, I boiled down to the alt-right's argument about the white ethno-state, you know, like it was an argument that people who are intelligent didn't even really know how to approach. You know, like, how do we tell someone, no, it's not a good idea to try to achieve a white ethno-state? Like, where do I even begin arguing that? And then it was really hard. It's like, well, okay, so let's find somebody who really, really believes in that. And then it turned out it's actually really hard to find somebody who sincerely believes in that and is willing to form a coherent argument in favor of it. Because like you look at some of these channels, and they're largely pretty incoherent. Like there's this guy, Alternative Hypothesis. Have you ever watched him?
Mm-mm.
Oh, he's like this alt-right guy who he's wacky. Like at first, you know, he'll start out making sense for 2 minutes, and then by the end of 10 minutes, you're like, what are you smoking? Like, really, you know, like this guy, like he was talking about how he would support the Boston terrorist bombing under the right circumstances and shit. Jesus. Yeah, like, but somehow he has like 40,000, maybe more at this point, followers on subscribers on YouTube. But many people are, you know, it's been hard to even have the conversation. Why is it a bad idea to have the white ethno-state? And seemingly because the alt-right people that are supposedly out there, who supposedly have all these good arguments, they don't want an actual discussion with an intelligent person. So you never really, you just never see that. But I realized it's like, okay, well, I'm going to try to come up with a one-move checkmate, as my friend Spacepan likes to say, you know, like in argumentation. So I thought about it for months and months, and I came up with one, which was simply, okay, so the alt-right wants a future for white children, and that's why they believe that they have to have the white ethno-state, right?
Mm-hmm. So
riddle me this. If there was a full-scale war between Islam and Western democracies, would you or would you not want black soldiers fighting on behalf of your white children? And I think it's like, what are they gonna say? No. Like,
No, they're gonna say yes.
yeah, it's like, because that appeals to the most racist part of them, the part of them that wants the slaves fighting on behalf of the plantation owners.
Hmm. No, do you care more about white skin or do you care about white values? Because if you care about white people, do you let in these degenerate leftists in? Do you let these communists in? Do you let all these people who plan to destroy your civilization? Or do you care more about the values that make your civilization great? That is a great question. And then I was on Andy Worski's channel, and JF said, "Well, you have a
You were on it or you were watching it?
I was on Andy Worski's channel
Oh, you were.
before it completely died. Um,
Mhm.
where I was
I
telling
wonder
Jay,
what happened to that guy.
Andy,
Yeah.
I don't know. It was like it was only so much.
Well, okay. Tell us what happened first, and then we'll talk a little bit about Andy.
Yeah, I'll say it'll be extremely difficult for a state to break away from America to essentially create a ethno state in America. Ethno state in America. I would explain that you have to have the combination. This is legit what you have to do. I looked this up. You have to have the other 49 states to agree to let go of this state. You have to have 2/3 of Congress, two-thirds of the House, or the president to also allow this to happen. So you gotta, and also you gotta be two parts of the court to let this happen. So you have to convince 49 other states and 2/3 of this House, the Senate, or the Supreme Court, or the president to do this. Maybe you have to convince a lot of people to be all right. And once you get to that point of America, this is no longer Western civilization. This is something more tribal. Uh, and you know what JF said? See, right there. See, they go a way to get the ethnicity in America. Like,
Wait, say it. What is it, Jeff said?
he said, see, right there. Right there, you said it right there. We can't have an ethno state in America. See, if we really try it, we try hard enough. Like,
Oh,
do you just hear what I said? You need
yeah.
49 other states to agree to let you have this state to secede from the United States and have the president or House and Senate or the Supreme Court and have 2 out of 3 to do this.
It's like somebody were if some. I'm just imagining this in gay sex metaphors. Like you're first taking sex education, and you asked your sex education teacher, "Can you get HIV from a hand job?" And then the sex education teacher doesn't want to say no. So they say, well, I suppose if the person had a hand and there was a big cut on their hand and they were given a hand job and then the cum got all over the cut, there is a possibility that it could get into the bloodstream, but it would have to probably be a major artery. So it would have to be bleeding a lot. So the likelihood that the cum would actually get in the artery would be very low, but maybe. And then and then JF is like, see, you can get AIDS from the hand job.
See, right there, we found it. It's like you don't understand how difficult. Like it was set up in a way where it would be extremely difficult to do, and it was done on purpose. So you have to go on civil war, and then what do you, I try to explain. What do you do to those black people who won't leave that state and the minorities? And then after that, you have to have a wall, and then after that, you have to have the rest of the world to make sure that you have aid because you have a state, not a country. Like who's going to do business with that state? Nobody. Not Europe. Not none of the European countries. They're not going to do any business with this country. They're going to do business with America. We will be.
They're gonna choose the state with the most uh, oil. They're gonna find they're gonna get the part of Texas that has the most oil, and then all the white people are gonna live there and sell the oil. That'll happen.
Yeah, and you know what's going to happen? America's going to have a huge ass civil war. You know what's going to happen if we in a civil war? You know what's going to happen to Russia and China? They're going to immediately start conquering half the world because we're fighting with ourselves. It's literally like if you want to destroy the world, why don't you go at it? But like, is the possibility would end up bad? Because I don't think the alt right thinks about global politics that much. that Russia and China, the only reason why they have pushback is America and the rest of the world is standing against them. Like Russia will happily conquer half of Europe if America was fighting with itself, and they couldn't have the power to fight against Russia from conquering Europe.
Yeah, or at least I don't know if Russia conquers country. Okay, so like,
But
well,
exactly,
I don't. This is me. I might be talking about out my ass here, but like, I have this feeling that Russia doesn't really conquer countries in the way that like the Soviet Union conquered countries. You know, the Soviet Union was trying to make them all into communists, and then they had to answer to fucking Stalin, and then um, Gorbachev was actually the last communist head, and but I have a feeling that Putin is not so much necessarily interested in like conquering and governing all of these countries, but it's a little bit more like he wants to make sure that he's more in power than NATO and the United States over them. And that's probably a rather small distinction, but at the same time, you know, it would be easier for like the Russian government to trade with this because they wouldn't have to deal with any sort of sanctions in trading that you know the European Union and stuff would put in place. So Putin would like to circumvent that by potentially having the like a far eastern EU state nation state.
well, I mean,
Putin would have it in his best interest to want to separate that nation state from the European Union so that he could trade directly, you know, so that Russians could trade directly with that nation state. But he wouldn't want to like go in there and fucking occupy them necessarily.
well, the reason why I'll say why this I feel like this was happening is, do you know about what happened to Crimea in 2017?
You know, I don't know that much about it.
So Russia just took Crimea, just straight up went to the country, kicked out the president, and took this country.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
it took them like half an afternoon.
Okay, well, maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe.
Yeah, and then the rest of the world did nothing. Like we did jack shit. It was absolutely amazing. It was like the saddest takeover ever because it's like went in and kicked everybody out of office, and to this day nobody said anything about it.
What
So
do you know? What was the explanation for that? Like why they did it?
it's Russia. Like they want they felt like it was part of Russia beforehand. So they decided to take it back, and like the rest of the world was absolute quiet. It was like a real big shame of us that this country was taken over by Russia and we did nothing.
So, but, huh? I just, but like they would have to have a ruler to rule it. Is now they're just like a an agent of the Russian government instead of the president? Like,
No, it's Russia now. Crimea is Russia now.
yeah, but they have to have like in the way that we have governors of states, they have to have somebody. Like they can't just like have no leader.
Well,
Like I technically it's Russia, but there has to be a leader. So like they probably Putin had some fucking problem with the president. Like and there could be just to play devil's advocate, like there could be a legitimate fucking reason that okay, well there was obviously a legitimate reason that Putin had a problem with the guy. Otherwise he wouldn't fucking kill him. But there could be a good reason. There could be a selfish reason in terms of Putin. Putin could believe that the guy was trying to overthrow him or, you know, disrespect his authority in some way, or there could be some just like fucking slimy reason. But ultimately, it like that guy is going to be replaced. By somebody and somebody who's ultimately going to be more compliant with Putin. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But it's like, I mean, then you have to think these young alt-right kids who don't know anything about geopolitics, like who the fuck is Justin Trudeau besides somebody that was supposed to be compliant, you know, and subservient to Hillary Clinton? Like they were expecting Hillary Clinton. And Justin Trudeau was just a little fucking vagina kisser that was ready to do that.
Yeah. And like I said, I think Donald Trump election was the biggest fuck you ever seen in your life. It was it. Don't get me wrong. It was hilarious. Like watching the left freak out, like cry and legit having like emotional breakdown. Like,
Oh, it was my favorite part was um seeing like the various status updates over the course of like 6 months, a year. The most satisfying one was when some girl literally wrote about how she had to go back on her like Prozac because she was so upset by it. So now she's taking antidepressants again. And I was just like, you know, I don't know. I don't even have a punchline for that. I don't have to.
I saw. I think the funniest thing I saw was because Donald Trump makes me so angry. I started. I stopped going to the gym and I got fat again. Donald Trump had. She's blaming the reason why she got fat on Donald Trump. Like, man, you blame everything on this guy. Like, you stop eating. You start eating and stop going to the gym, and you got fat and you blame Trump. Come on, man. Really?
For the record, Yosef and I are friends on Facebook, and he shares the best memes. I would say about 75% of the memes I share. Well, maybe about 50% of the memes I share are from you. A good portion of them are from you, but the other ones that I share commonly are also from a Black conservative guy. So if you ever have the opportunity to become friends with a Black conservative guy on Facebook, do it. You will get some good memes.
Oh yeah,
and not just about politics, definitely about politics, but just about other things too. For some reason, Black conservative guys got the best memes. Like I don't fucking know. I think Black guys are not as afraid of saying certain things that white people are scared to say, and it comes out in meme form.
Oh, I'm a extreme shit poster. And at first, I was scared of shit posting on my page, but now like I don't care anymore. Like I don't care. I've been fired. I got a new job. Like I'm pretty much untouchable. I live in the South. I went deeper South. Like I dare you to try to fire me from Home Depot. What's going to happen? Like, yeah, the guy that that gave money.
And you're a gun owner too.
I am a gun owner. Of course I am. And I'm getting more and more every other week. So
how many you got?
Well, that's for people to know, and that's for the that's for me to know and then find out.
But your wife got a few.
Yes.
Or your fiance.
Mm-hmm. And then also her auntie's upstairs, and she got a rifle behind her rocking chair. She lived with us. So like, if you make it to my room before you get shot with the lady upstairs, good luck. Yeah, I'll tell people, like, are you afraid for your life? Not really. There's a bunch of guns in this house, and I'm finna buy me a shotgun. And that's the kind of gun you just need to generally shoot in a direction. Like you don't really have to aim that gun. Like
it's like fucking Reaper and Overwatch. Just get up kind of close.
It is. I shot a slug the other day. It was a 10 gauge slug, and the hole is about it's about the size of a golden dollar. This is how the bigger the hole it leaves it. This is how much it takes out of a person. It's about as big as a golden dollar. This is how big this hole is from this gun. So like I said, this is me. Like I shit post. No, I party with the Proud Boys. No, I love freedom. I do. No, I love my country. And once this is one reason I love my country. When you love something, you want to improve it. You say, I own that America is mine. Therefore, it's mine. Therefore, I should do whatever I can do in my best interest to make it the best it can be. I'm not gonna like, oh, I hate America. If you hate something, you don't care about something. And you try to destroy that thing, and that's what I kind of see right now is people trying to actually destroy America because they hate it and they feel like it's so evil, so wrong.
Yeah. Okay, and that reminds me of what I was sort of going to say before when you were talking about the Antifa or no, white nationalists don't understand geopolitics, and Antifa doesn't either, and I think that with a lot of for a lot of these kids, it's really is just a lack of perspective. Like they all they know about is their own unhappiness and um, the things that they think make them miserable. And to them, they're thinking that the status quo makes them miserable because most kids at school they don't really get along with, most teachers they don't get along with, they get a job they don't really like their boss. Most old people that they encounter, they go to the movies and there's shitty old people and they don't really like them. So the easiest conclusion is to just blame all of America for, you know, because everything around them is things that kind of piss them off. It's like, well, that must just be because America sucks. They probably haven't traveled all that much. I was a little kid when I was all through my teenage years. I was really into Japanese culture, and there's still, don't get me wrong, like a lot of amazing Japanese culture. Like they a lot of really cool things have come from Japan, for especially considering how small of a country it is. I mean, there's a lot more people than that it's roughly it's like just a little bit smaller than California, and they crammed a lot of fucking people in there. But ultimately, uh, going to Japan and actually having to witness what it's like to live there constantly gave me a whole new appreciation for America. Because I don't think I'd want to live in Japan. I would be able to spend maybe 3 months at a time in Japan, and by the end, I would get cabin fever because if you are a 6'2" American that is used to um, wide open spaces and shit, like Japanese people, they're not that short. Like they're not super short. Like that is a stereotype. Um, you'll see Japanese people that are over 6 foot, but not much. Like you will be about the most tall person that you ever see if you're 6'2". Um, but the way that their architecture is built, um, you can reach up and touch every ceiling, even in like department stores and shit. And there's a reason for that. They don't build their buildings very high because they get crazy ass earthquakes. And there's all sorts of other reasons. They like things being in small spaces. Also, Japan is geographically rather small. And they have a lot of people, and they have for a very, very long time. So they've just gotten used to building things rather small. And you spend enough time like that, and then it's like, oh, that's why Japanese people play video games so goddamn much. They don't have the outdoors in the same way that Americans do. And not only do they play video games a lot, but Japanese, they don't drink that much, but what they do is they fucking smoke. They smoke like fucking chimneys up in Japan. Like I went there in, it must have been 1999. I don't know if they've changed the laws. They likely haven't. But you could go to the arcade. Yeah, they probably haven't. But like you go to the arcade and where you can play pachinko and those little basically gambling games, except for you don't actually win anything. Like all you do is like compete so that you can keep playing. Like that's the reward, is playing longer and longer and longer. And you sit on a chair and there's an ashtray next to every pachinko machine or slot machine or whatever. And kids can go in there. You're not supposed to smoke if you're a kid, but I don't know if anyone really patrols. And if you're like a white teenager from America, they're not going to stop you because they don't get, like, I could go into the bars. Like I legally was not supposed to be drinking in bars because until you're 18. I was 17, and because I was like white, they just didn't card me. Like that's what it's like in Japan, and that's like it's like kind of cool to go visit. But there's a reason that the culture is like that. It's because all that Japanese people really have is working, their family, eating, and then wasting time smoking and playing video games and shit. It's like all they fucking do.
That would drive me nuts. That would drive me
It
absolutely.
would fucking drive you, yeah, yeah. And but they're used to it, you know. And like, so it made me appreciate America a lot more. Like, it's like I appreciate a lot of the stuff that comes from that. Like, I love, you know, Japanese. I grew up in the 1980s. I was playing Nintendo games. Like, of course, I love Japanese culture, but like, fucking, I was happy to be home when I came back.
No, 'cause when I went to South Africa and Israel, a lot of cause they like, oh, you Americans love stuff so big. I'm like, well, yeah, you know, America is huge. Like, it's mostly, so it's mostly just it's open space if you get it outside of the cities. Uh, so I went to South Africa, like it was I couldn't deal with the small beds, the small house, people on top of each other. When I was in Israel, I like everything's so small, everybody's so connected, everybody's so like, just leave me the hell alone. I just need my space. I want to get drunk and pass out and not be bothered the next day. Um, and once you travel outside the country, you realize like, oh shit, I actually got it good. And this is another thing. If you live in America, you are the 1% of the world.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, in order to succeed in America, you do have to work quite hard. Like it is like there's a lot to lose by losing in America. You know, becoming a homeless person, getting killed or whatever. We don't have the highest homeless population. There's a lot more homeless people in several other cities, but or several other countries.
Well,
But like you can easily lose all your money in America.
yes, but
You know?
only in America is you have the ability to fail multiple times.
Mm.
Like you have the freedom to fail. Because I can say there's been plenty of times where I've lost a lot of money, and I've been in the shitter where I have like really bad times. Like, all right, I guess I got to find another way to make some money. And because we live in a society where everybody's looking to either make money or consume or spend money, you have the freedom to fail. And now you see a lot of these other countries, especially third world countries, you are literally born in your bracket. There's really no way to go up and down. America have a great ladder of going up and down, where you can become rich. In the same heart, a lot of people, kids who are rich, they become poor. Um, so you have the freedom to be as brutish or as ignorant, as loud, as rich, as stingy, as poor, as horrible money as possible as you are, if you want to be. That's the great thing about this country. Like I went to Israel and I got in trouble because I was joking. I was saying Allahu Akbar, um, in Jerusalem. Like, you can't say that. Like, well, why? You just can't say that. Like, yeah, fuck you guys. I'm saying.
Well, because there's constant like Islamist attacks, right?
Yeah, but I was harassing them, and uh, this is my American way. It's like, being brutish, being confrontational. So like having the freedom to be free, and you go to this other country, they're not really free. They it's the government over the people versus the people over the government. Like it's we have a very unique system where it's like, hey, if the government gets too crazy, you can shoot them.
Hey, I gotta run to the bathroom real quick. I will be back in about like 30 seconds if you want to keep them occupied. Hold on.
All right. All right, uh, Prince Child. But yeah, guys, that's one thing. For me, I have traveled to multiple places across, up in Europe, up and down Africa, up and down the Middle East, and every time, I do love going to those places. I will choke somebody out eventually if I had to live to those places. I love living in America. No, I love my house. I love my big ass SUV because they don't have the big cars uh, over there in Europe or in especially not Israel. Dear Lord, no. Um, at the end of the day, like they don't have all this stuff where we have in America. We have the privilege for it. Like I don't think I would be able to afford two cars in America, I mean, in Israel or in Europe. Wouldn't, not on my wages. Uh, and I work two jobs because I choose to work two jobs. Is one of those great things about living in America, where people they shit on America because they just don't have the proper perspective to let me look around and see what else is how the rest of the world's doing.
I got that.
All right. Now there's one more subject that we also want to talk about, Prince,
Yeah.
before I hop off because I want to talk about this because it's a little funny because we had this conversation and we both got attacked. We both got it was no, it was so much hate coming to our side, and we stuck it out and we waited, and then we was right.
Oh yeah.
And that's the story of blood sports.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, what was your prediction? Because you know, I said from uh as soon as it even got on my radar, and granted, you know, it getting on my radar came as a result of me being invited into streams. Like I was not fucking following it. Like apparently it had kind of been going on for a few weeks, and I just didn't know. Like there was the Kraut server thing. I don't even fucking use Discord. Um, and then everyone was coming at Jeff Holiday, who, like, I knew he was like technically my friend, but um, I was way way better friends with, you know, Wizard of Cause, who I was talking to recently, and Wizard of Cause wasn't even fucking following it. He wasn't interested. Like, and so then people invited me into streams and started like springing it on me, and I just didn't know what they were talking about. And then they were trying to say that like really I did, and that I was like covering for them or hiding something, or that I was purposefully ignorant, or like just something like trying to pin something on me. It didn't make any sense. And I was like, oh, and the guy who was doing it the worst to me was Cognitive Thought, who had once been my friend. So I knew something was up.
Yeah, I
Because
saw that. He was having a whole like streams just like this
he made like 5 or 6 streams with my fucking Twitter handle in the fucking title, so that if anyone liked it and their liked videos was linked to their Twitter accounts, which lots of people are, so that, you know, every time they like a video, it tweets out. Then I would get added every time somebody would do that. And so he would like make these streams with my Twitter handle in them. And he did that like 5 or 6 times, like a fucking crazy person. Like he became my Christy Winters to like Bering or some shit. Like he was like obsessed with me. And no, the reason why is somebody or other um convinced Cog to turn on me. And just for the record, Andy Worski, Tonka Saw, Sinatra, whoever the fuck, like those little people, none of them are smart enough to convince Cognitive Thought to turn on me. It was somebody smarter. That's the only thing I'm gonna say. Somebody told him that it was going to be a good idea to turn on me, and that he was, you know, hey, Cognitive Thought, you gotta ruin Prince of Queens. You're going to be a made guy. If you ruin Prince of Queens' reputation on air, you're going to be a made guy. You're going to be in, man. And Cognitive Thought said, "Oh, cool, I'll try. Okay, right, yeah, I can do it." And then he couldn't. I fucking embarrassed the shit. You can go back and watch that stream. Anyone can. It was from fucking December, and he just sounded like a crazy person, and I was like all like drunk. My fucking like I wasn't even drinking at that time. I had taken a 6-month break of drinking, but it was right around Christmas, and one of my college friends was in town, and so I had to go out drinking with her, you know. And so I was like drunk, and I thought Cog was my friend, and he wanted to go on a stream, and he wouldn't tell me why, and I just went on. And you can tell that that was the state that I was in. And he thought that he had me at like a weak point. But what he didn't understand is like, I'm not the faggot you want to fuck with. Like I've been in a lot of fucking intense altercations in my, you know, like I I sound exactly as gay as I did when I was 13, and I went to a middle school that was 80% black.
Eesh.
So you know, it's like, don't fucking think that you're gonna fucking intimidate me by like coming at me all crazy and shit. Like I'll fucking stand up to you. Like I'm not fucking scared of you. And so like he didn't even make fucking any sense. And I was like pointing that out. I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. You sound. And then he got this guy Geek Thulu who's a fucking idiot. And best moment of that whole fucking stream. Geek Thulu Geek Thulu had been instigating you know, drama with me really, really hard. He was trying his damnedest to get sucked into drama with me, or to get me sucked into drama with him. You know, like he was basically doing like being a cry bully. Like he was the one picking the fight. And I was like, I don't even fucking know you. I don't have a fucking problem with you. Leave me alone. And he kept going. He kept going. And so eventually I wrote him a long thing and I was like, look, dude, here's the fucking thing. I don't know you. I don't care about you. And if you make this into a big drama, it could escalate and everyone will look at this and nobody's going to side with you. So I suggest that you stop, because it's not going to be a good idea if you pursue drama with me. He took a screenshot of it and said that I threatened him, which is like, that's kind of like running up on someone. And then if somebody says, I'll defend myself, saying that they threatened you. You know what I mean? It's like
kind of like a Tifa dudes with Proud Boys.
Yeah. Same shit. And so we were talking about that moment on air, and they were trying to put words into my mouth, and they're like, oh, but you were threatening him. And I was like, no, I wasn't. I was telling you that if you pursued drama with me and people started to notice, then everybody would just think that you were a cunt. And he was like, well, everybody already thinks I'm a cunt. And I'm like, and you're just happy because people are thinking about you at all. That was the best moment of that stream. Like seriously, like of all the actual, you know, like for the bloodthirsty Spurgs who actually got into that shit, that was the moment where I officially won that blood sport. You know what I mean? It was like there was no coming back from that. And but after that happened, right? Like I fucking, they tried to fucking come at me and I bitch slapped both of them and I said, shut the fuck up, get out the fucking face. Like you don't got shit on me. But I knew that something was happening and that like people were deliberately there was a motive behind it, and it wasn't simply entertainment for people that like screaming at each other's. No, it was very calculated, and they were going to try to suck. Like there was two types of people on YouTube to those guys. There was the people who had been initiated into the cult of the blood sport. You know, the people who were a part of it, you know, like they were like basically like zombies, people who had been bitten and infected with the virus. And then there was everybody else. And they were either going to eat you alive or they were going to try to convert you. And I could tell. And I was like, well, the only thing to do with those motherfuckers is to just realize to quarantine them. And then they'll eat each other. And it will all be over. And I think that's what we both kind of thought was going to happen.
That's what I would on Andy Worsh's stream, and I told him that exactly what you just said, and he didn't believe me, and Jeff didn't believe me. So what's going to
he thought he's like, no, I'm going to be Andy Ray Skorsky in 5 years. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's like I was like, you know what's going to happen is like this. You in the shit of the most toxic part of the internet, and eventually you're gonna get tired of it because everybody gets tired of the alt-right eventually. Like nobody want to hear about Jews all day long. Like I was watching this one alt-right stream, and I came in. It's talking about the Jews. I hopped off, went and played like a bunch of matches of Overwatch, played Fallout 4, hopped back in the stream, and they were still talking about Jews. Like eventually it get tiresome. It's like I'm telling like what's going to happen is your group's going to turn each other. It's going to have all this strife. You're going to say something that's going to actually offend somebody because Baker Lashley got offended. You know, Andy got offended, JF got offended.
Yeah, that makes Alaska.
So like everybody got offended, and you guys gonna is like when you guys trying to be the edgiest, you know, everybody get cut.
Yeah, well, no, they all got played. They got fucked in the ass. They got fucked in the ass by the guy who was fucking them. And you guys at home can use your imagination about who was fucking them. Who was the one that came out semi all right, and now you never hear from anymore? Use your heads. Get your really makes the noggin jogging or something. I think is how they would say. Who was behind all of that? To be perfectly truthful, I think Andy had a mark on his back because of Francesca Ramsey.
Yep.
I think that's exactly what it was because she's in tight with fucking Susan Wojcinski and all those motherfuckers. Like Francesca Ramsey's well connected, and you know when he go to try to talk with her at VidCon and shit, and she acted all fake with him, and then he talked about it on air, and then she made that was a turning point. Like he didn't even know that he was about to go down. Like I think honestly, Francesca Ramsey talked to him about how because he had a conversation with her and she said that she was willing to have a conversation. She was lying. She didn't want to talk to him, but she did. And what he told her was that he felt like it would be good YouTube entertainment for them to hash out their differences on air. And she heard it and she went back and she told somebody about it. And then however many months later, like, I don't know, 5 months later, all of a sudden, Andy Worski is hashing out his differences and facilitating everybody to hash out their differences on air. And that's all he does. And it ends up being the end of him. It's kind of funny the way that worked out. And you know, and a lot of it was not his idea. He was largely influenced by multiple people around him.
It's something. It is sad, but like I told him, like this is what's going to happen. I'm telling you, like dealing with the alt right, they're just using your huge channel, and they're going to eventually.
Or sorry, just got insert the alt right or people that are in close proximity to the alt right, but might not necessarily be white identitarians themselves, but hang out with the alt right because there are definitely those people out there who. It's like, I have literally never heard you say a single alt-right thing. And yet, there you are, hanging out with JF, blah, 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 blah. So I don't know what to call you, but I want to make that distinction.
Yeah. I said, this is the thing, that the alt-right poisons everything. That's why the Proud Boys, we booted those idiots out for a long time ago. Because when we did have, like, we had a person of people. When we did have a lot of alt-right people that kept joining the group, it was just so toxic, and it almost killed the Proud Boys. The alt-right almost killed the Proud Boys by joining the Proud Boys because it wasn't, they wasn't actually doing things that the Proud Boys doing. It was in there ragging on blacks. It was in there talking about the JQ. It was in there calling conservative cucks. They'll do everything in their power to just shit on the West. It was like they want to make the West better. They just want to shit on our people. And it was like this was going to happen to your channel. And that's like JF. Who gives a shit about JF? And he's a crazy person. Like,
yeah, he's actually a crazy person.
Like do you see his thumbnail? Like, he had a very unflattering picture of himself, like him with baggy eyes and look crazy. Like
and the way he talks, you know, like he's okay. The best fucking thing was when he heard that Karen Strawn was talking shit about him because she talked to V on a live stream about she was like, and what the fuck is with this Jean-François Guerpy guy? Like, he was married to a woman that legally has the social skills of approximately a 10-year-old, and her parents didn't want her to be with him. What kind of fucked up guy? And then he did an entire like hour-long stream devoted to just talking shit about Karen Strawn, and he was calling himself, he was like, no, my wife was very beautiful and I'm a Chad male. For like
I'm sorry, but that's gay. That is gayer than a gay orgy.
It was so fucking weird.
It's like, how do you gonna talk about whites are the best, and you look for ethnic states, and you look for superior genes, and like you're fucking a retard, and you're really like having sex with somebody who's mentally retarded, like by the actual definition. Like you don't care about white genes if this is who you banging. I don't know. That's something that's very hilarious.
I have to say though, I feel bad for Andy, because I mean, like, I don't actually feel bad in terms of YouTube, like me as Prince of Queens in relation to the Andy Worski channel. No, I don't. He can go to hell. Like, that is his fate. He chose it. He stepped up. He said, "Bring me to hell," and they said, "Okay." But I have sympathy and not just pity, but I have sympathy for him as a living, breathing human being. Because and I've brought this up before, and I'm one of the only people that will say this openly, because I don't think a lot of people know this. He was really, really horrifically abused as a child.
Yeah, he was.
And like he used to have a video about it, and he deleted it around the time that blood sports got popular. I think because people were bringing it up. And the thing is that Andy Worski sounds like he's retarded, and people would make fun of it. But the thing is the reason that he sounds like that is because when he was a really little kid, like probably like 4 to 6 years old, this went on for like a year. He said a whole year. He had this babysitter that like tortured him, actually, like did all sorts of fucked up shit. He lived in Canada. She would lock him outside on the porch for like an hour at a time, just to be rid of him when it was like snowing out and shit, or like really cold. And one time she burnt him with a frying pan in the cheek, and said that he did it himself to the parents. And him and his sister, she didn't do it to the sister, but he and his sister were so scared of her that they never said anything to the parents for like a year that this went on. And so it was like repeated acts of like actual kind of torture to a really small child. And finally they ended up telling the parents about it, and it was over. But by that time he developed a really, really, really bad stutter, because he was terrified to ever speak up for himself, because he thought he was going to get in trouble. And if he got in trouble, then he might get like burnt with a fucking frying pan. So he just had such a horrible stutter that he never talked all through school, and just tried to, be one of those quiet kids that never talked. Because if he did talk, he would be like, and like couldn't get his words out. And instead of trying to somehow get over that, he just didn't have any friends at all. Period. And like not maybe like one friend, but like I think no friends, because he didn't talk at all. And then in high school, there was like the group of like the popular guys. He decided that he wanted to try to make friends with them, and he probably was like following them around, and they were like, "What's with the like retarded kid that doesn't know how to talk? He's trying to hang out with us." And finally, and he says this, like he doesn't say he was following them around, but I think that that's probably what it was, because he didn't have any friends. He had said that. What he did to make friends was to take off all of his clothes till he was in his boxer shorts, and start doing snow angels in the ground in front of them.
Sorry about that. I dropped out for a split second.
Oh, okay. So I was just sort of telling the story of how Andy.
There you go. I'm sorry. I dropped out for a second.
Can you hear me still?
Yeah, I can hear you. I was continuing the story.
Yeah. So he went outside, and there was like the group of popular guys that he was trying to become friends with. He probably followed them around for a while, and they were probably thinking to themselves like, "This is weird," but like whatever. And he took off his boxer shorts and started doing snow angels in the ground in front of the guys, and they started laughing, and then they became friends with him. And then from that point onward, he got speech therapy, and that was how he was able to like learn how to talk. Um, but he wasn't able to like basically talk at all until high school, and didn't have any friends until he fucking embarrassed himself by taking off all his clothes and doing snow angels. And ultimately, knowing high school guys, although he probably doesn't want to admit this to himself, probably the only fucking reason they became friends with him is because they felt sorry for him. Like they're probably like, oh my god, the fucking kid with issues who literally can't talk actually just took off his clothes and did snow angels. Well, we kind of have to hang out with him now because like that's just pathetic. Like and he probably doesn't quite understand that. And so you imagine, and that's in high school. Like that's a long period of him not developing social skills like a normal person. And his only way of understanding the concept of having friends is when people are paying attention to him. Like he thinks all attention is good attention because that's how he first made friends. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so he started out on YouTube, and like he did videos for several years, and like they're just completely boring. And then he just started making those cringe videos where he was just cringing at SJW videos that were really bad, and like that was fine. But he didn't really have anything to offer. And then his channel started drying up. He didn't have anything else. He didn't have any more material, and they knew perfectly well that that was going to happen to him because they made a whole video about the day the SJWs vanished, and it was him, Milo Yiannopoulos, and supposed to be Tommy Loren, and it was about how like they didn't have any careers after the social justice warriors finished. Like they predicted, like Mike.com predicted that that was going to happen to him, and then a few notable people tried to convince him and a large portion of the audience that the new cool thing to do was to have drama streams all the time. And he was so susceptible to peer pressure and to doing what the other guys were doing, because he's the guy that pleased guys by making them laugh by getting in his underwear and doing snow angels, that he was willing to just do it. He went right ahead and did it. And it probably ruined his life for probably the rest of his life. And that's just fucking sad to me. Like that's a guy who was abused and only made friends by kind of like doing what he figured that the other guys wanted him to do. And then that carried over somehow into fucking YouTube. And the group of guys on YouTube ended up getting him to do some really shitty stuff. And I mean, like, I don't feel bad for him because he had every opportunity to back out of that. And he threw his own friends under the bus. His own friends were trying to tell him not to do this. And he was like, screw it, I'm making money. So yeah. I don't fucking feel bad for him. But if I was his family, I mean, imagine being his mother and seeing this happen to him. Yeah. That's what I feel bad for.
Now I'm just sad. I need to sleep on this. I don't know. I might hit him up. Let's talk to him. I am friends with the guy.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think Andy Worski's a racist.
No, he's not. I feel like there was guys that was just using him for his channel. And like I said, and this is I was trying to warn him about the alt-right. It's like the alt-right, they're like leeches. They have to leech on to something much bigger to survive. Like they have to. Yeah. I want to see this video of the Proud Boys going to a rally, and it was like maybe like 30 Proud Boys, and these two alt-right guys came out like, no, you guys get the fuck out of here, because every time you come out, we get in trouble. No, you guys leave. Do not come here. We tried protecting you guys in the past. What you guys do is you get in the middle of the group and you say all these horrible things, and we get in trouble. And that's just the nature of the alt-right. Is everything they touch is just turns to shit.
Imagine like they're doing it on purpose.
Yeah, like imagine Richard Spencer was the president of the United States.
Well, Richard Spencer is just a gay actor anyway.
I believe that. This is what I believe, that Richard Spencer had a black boyfriend in the past, and that's as the left say. This is my truth. This is my reality. Let me have
it. No, I would not be surprised. I mean, I think. No, I don't want to speculate too much, because I don't. The only thing I fucking know about Richard Spencer that I would stand by is that he seems gay, and that when he first came out with his channel before Trump won the election, and I was first hearing about like the phrase the alt-right, I was like, well, what is it? Who coined this phrase? And I found his channel. I remember looking, and I remember watching him and thinking that he seemed like he was acting, but he was a pretty good actor. And I remember not thinking he was gay. Like, I remember thinking that he was just kind of creepy. And then it just got to the point where he's just a fucking faggot. Like, you know, like he's all like, Sargon, I really want to tell you something. You're not as smart as you think you are. You know?
The video, what video was it? No, it was something where it was like, it was Gavin McInnes, it was Joe Biggs, and Joe Biggs, he's a friend of mine on Facebook, and I'm proud of the guy. He's just all American, yeah, yo, guns, Trump, yeah. And it was making fun of Richard Spencer. Like, you think that some guy in a peach suit is going to kick out black people? Like, they really think they're going to be booted by some guy this high tone guy in a wrinkled peach suit going to kick me out? Like, man, like it was kind of like fun of, like, because he wears his very effeminate suits that's always wrinkles, and he talks with a certain voice, like I will go.
And he always got hangover face on him too. Like, he looks like he just fucking woke up and had a Bloody Mary.
Always, like, and it's not like I occasionally have hangover faces when I go on a meetup, but man, come on, Richard Spencer. Present. I'm getting. I think I'm about to pass out.
Well, it's been it's stream finishing length. I think that this was an interesting stream. I think that people can clear up some misconceptions by hearing us actually speak as normal people about things, and not just clearing up the misconceptions about the murder and how it escalated from your vantage point, but also like what you think about the alt-right, and what you think about the Proud Boys, and that kind of thing. And I just, you know, I guess as a closing statement from me, the best thing for me to say is that I like to think I have a pretty high bullshit detector. Like, it's not super easy at this point in my, because I used to be the craftiest of all crafty, dishonest people. Like, we're talking, I used to be a junkie. And so, like, you don't know how to lie until you've been a junkie. And now I'm sober. You know, I only drink 2-3 times a month, and that's pretty much all I ever do. Besides, I smoke a little bit of weed sometimes. And I have my wits about me, and I've dealt with drug addict after drug addict, and con artist after people that were stealing people's money, doing bad shit to people or whatever. And I think that's my bullshit detector speaks for itself. If you go through my videos, and I have a pretty good track record of knowing when somebody's legit, knowing when somebody's not to be trusted, knowing when an organization is, kind of fishy, or when a politician's probably lying about, they have a pretty good track record with this stuff. And you, my friend, I believe when you talk about this stuff. I don't think that you're fucking lying to me. I think that you're being perfectly fucking honest. I don't get any impression that you're hiding anything at all. I think it's the reverse of that. I think that you are eager to actually give your real side of this story, and that's why I do these streams with you.
I really do appreciate that. Is for me is in my videos I try to get all the facts, or as much facts as possible, and then I try to get my opinion. But I always try to get as much facts as possible. And the one thing I like to do is to wait till everything comes out and gives a whole entire story, no matter how long it is, because I believe context is important. I think context is everything. I think the problem we live in right now is people don't believe in context, and that's how we get all emotional, because we don't come from a point of facts and then have our opinions. We just come from a point of this yelling and all this hate. Because even I was talking to this one liberal reporter the other day, where she got very emotional, where she was like, "Well, how do you feel about children being separated from the border?" And then after 5 minutes of explaining everything, that like what I see, what are the numbers, what is the stats, what are the policies, what is the current status of this situation? Is this old? Is this new?
It is not new. It is not. Well, there is separate detention centers for children due to a 2016 ACLU powered. They determined that it was inhumane to hold children in the same area as the parents, and that's why there's separate detention centers for children.
This is one thing I was explaining to her, because I do realize most of the pictures that you was sharing, because I watch you, was done under Obama, and a lot of this stuff had changed under 2016. Also, do you know that 80% of the children crossing the border?
Oh, you mean the hood politics video?
Yes.
That was one of my best videos in the past month, huh?
Yes.
I was pissed when it didn't get more views.
I had to share it later. I should probably share it in do you know that 80% of kids crossing the border across the border by themselves? Do you know that child trafficking is extremely high? So you realize there's kids that cross the border. And how many people do you know is being crossed by a child trafficker? That's why they have a DNA test. And she was like, huh. So you really thought about this? Like, yes, I really thought about this. I did my research because I don't trust the media.
Yeah. No, I've known that about you for a long time. I used to get drunk on streams with you, and I could tell. I think I have a better bullshit detector when I'm drunk, even maybe. But on that note, I'm gonna stop the stream, and but don't leave immediately. All right.
All right.